Why do we keep comparing ourselves to others, even when we know it makes us miserable? It's a paradox that quietly poisons our daily peace. You scroll through your feed, spot someone landing exactly what you want, and your own progress suddenly feels worthless. But what if this isn't a personality flaw at all? What if it's a biological survival mechanism firing exactly as designed? Almost everything you've been told about motivation and jealousy is a lie. Today, we're hacking the system. We're exposing the hidden evolutionary code that forces your brain to constantly scan for status. By the end of this video, you won't just understand this cognitive glitch, you'll hold the exact blueprint to rewire it and take your focus back. To understand why we do this, we have to look at Leon Festinger's social comparison theory through a much darker lens. Thousands of years ago, comparing yourself to the rest of the tribe wasn't about ego, it was literally life or death. If you were the slowest runner or the weakest hunter, you were the one most likely left behind come winter. Your brain evolved a hypersensitive threat detection system, constantly measuring your social value against everyone else just to keep you alive. Fast forward to today, the physical danger is gone, but the primal software runs exactly as before. Except now, you're not comparing yourself to a tribe of 50, you're comparing yourself to the curated, impossibly perfect highlights of 8 billion strangers online. Every time you see a colleague get promoted or a friend buy a new house, your brain reacts as if your physical survival is threatened. Why? Because the primitive mind equates lower social status with fewer resources. So what exactly is happening inside your head in that moment? When you perceive someone else as superior, your brain automatically drops its serotonin levels, triggering anxiety and self-doubt. You are, quite literally, going through a chemical withdrawal. This system was incredibly useful when the tribe was small, but there's a massive catch. Today, that same survival mechanism gets hijacked by algorithms, trapping you in a constant, unwinnable state of perceived inferiority against millions. In a few seconds, I'll show you the exact trick to shut this alarm off. The truth is, you can't fully delete this primal instinct, but you can absolutely hack the metric your brain uses to measure it. The glitch happens because your mind is desperately looking for a baseline. Left unprovided, it defaults to the most visible person around you. So how do we fix the baseline? The answer lies in neuroplasticity. You consciously force your brain to compare your current status only against your past self. When you measure your own tangible progress over the last 6 months, your brain still gets its status update, just without the toxic serotonin drop. You satisfy the biological craving for comparison, but you control the opponent. This one cognitive shift starves the jealousy engine, freeing your mental energy for real growth instead of empty observation. But setting a new baseline is only half the battle. You also have to aggressively protect your cognitive environment. Why? Because every app on your phone is engineered by thousands of brilliant developers to pull you straight back into the comparison trap. They weaponize your serotonin with hyper-curated, unrealistic highlights of other people's lives. This isn't an accident, it's a feature. Every time you engage with those metrics, you're willingly feeding your own psychological glitch. The ultimate hack is radical curation. Ruthlessly unfollow, mute, or block anything that triggers your primal threat detection system without offering genuine value. Filter out the noise, and you create a sterile environment where your new baseline can finally take root, in complete silence. This brings us to the most uncomfortable truth about human nature. We secretly love the comparison game because it gives us an excuse to play the victim. If someone else is simply better, luckier, or richer, then our lack of progress isn't our fault. But the moment you hack this system, that excuse disappears. You're suddenly left face to face with your own potential. Without the constant noise of what everyone else is doing, you have no choice but to look in the mirror and do the actual work. In a few seconds, I'll reveal the one daily habit that locks this mindset in permanently. It's not about ignoring the world, it's about rendering it completely irrelevant to your personal trajectory. Here's the protocol to rewrite this system. It's called the delta metric.
Every morning, before you look at a screen or check a single feed, write down one specific metric you're trying to improve today compared to yesterday. Why write it down physically? Because the manual act of writing forces your analytical brain to lock onto a tangible target. It shifts your neurochemistry from anxious observation to active execution. You're building a closed psychological loop where the only valid competitor is your past self. Hit that micro-target and your brain releases dopamine, permanently reinforcing the new baseline. This habit takes less than 2 minutes, but the compounding effect over weeks is massive. You stop bleeding mental energy into the void of social comparison and channel it straight into your own architecture.
Understanding this biological glitch changes absolutely everything. The digital world desperately wants you looking sideways because an insecure mind is highly profitable. But your ultimate potential is directly proportional to your ability to keep your eyes entirely on your own path. You're no longer a victim of your ancient survival instincts. You're the architect of your focus. Remember, true power lies in rendering the competition entirely irrelevant. Now it's your turn to take control of the algorithm. What specific metric will you track tomorrow morning to build your delta metric? Tell me your target in the comments below. If this video exposed a hidden truth for you, hit like, share it with someone who needs a mental reset, and subscribe for more deep dives. See you next time.